Om Shanti, Morning Murli, 17th April. अव्यक्त महावाक्य of अव्यक्त बाप दादा मधुबन रिवाइज कोर्स 25th March 1990. Murli, the basis of attaining all experiences is purity. The basis of attaining all experiences is purity. Today, Bap Dada, the ocean of love, is seeing the spiritual features of the spiritual children from all four directions. There is spirituality in the features of every Brahman child. It is in the features of all of you, but it is number wise. Because the basis of spirituality is purity. The basis of spirituality is purity. To the extent you imbibe impurity in your thoughts, words, and deeds, accordingly the sparkle of spirituality is visible on your face. The sparkle of Brahman life is purity. The sparkle of Brahman life is purity. Purity is the main basis of constant supersenses, happiness, and of sweet silence. Purity is number wise, and so the attainments from the experiences are also number wise. If purity is number one, the attainment you receive from the Father is also number one. The constant sparkle of purity is naturally visible on your face. Eyes with the spirituality of purity are constantly seen as clean and pure. There is constantly the experience of the sparkle of spiritual soul and the spiritual Father from your eyes. There is constantly the experience of the sparkle of the spiritual soul and the spiritual Father from your eyes. Today, Bap Dada is especially seeing the sparkle of all you children, because the main basis is purity. All of you can also see the features of your spiritual purity in the mirror of knowledge. Purity is not simply being brahmachari, being celibate, but constantly a brahmachari and a brahmachari. That is, one who follows the activity of Father Brahma at each step. The steps of Brahma Baba's activity, which you call footsteps, will naturally be in their steps of thoughts, words, and deeds. Brahma Baba's activity will be seen in their every footstep. It is not difficult to become brahmachari, but it is essential to check that you are a brahmachari in the steps of your mind, words, and deed. The face and activity of someone who is a brahmachari are constantly experienced as introverted and thereby in the supersenses happiness. The power of their happiness and pleasure is not based on the means of knowledge. On the one hand, there is science, and in a Brahman life there is knowledge. A brahmachari soul does not experience constant happiness on the basis of science of knowledge. A brahmachari soul does not experience constant happiness on the basis of science or knowledge. He uses the method for a task in the form of spiritual endeavor. He does not make the method his sport, but he uses the method for a task on the basis of his spiritual endeavor. This is why some Brahman souls sometimes say that they did not receive a chance, or that they did not receive help in a particular sept, or that they did not receive cooperation. This was why their happiness decreased, or why their zeal and enthusiasm in themselves or for service reduced, or that they had that experience at first. They experienced supersenses happiness and also zeal and enthusiasm. They did not see anyone except Baba and the self. They did not see anyone except Baba and the self. However, the majority has different experiences, ups and downs, in 5 or 10 years. What is the reason for that? 10 years on, the zeal and enthusiasm of the first year should be 10 times greater. But why have they reduced? The reason is that they don't use the method for a task while stabilized in their stage of making spiritual endeavor. They make one sport or another the basis of their progress, and when that sport shakes, the zeal and enthusiasm also shake. It is not a bad thing to take a sport, but making the sport the foundation causes the father to be removed from in between. You make the sport your foundation. Therefore, what is the fluctuation that takes place? If it were like this would not happen. If I have this will happen. This is very essential. You begin to have such experiences. So there is not a balance between the method and the spiritual endeavor. So there is not a balance between the method and the spiritual endeavor. Your intellects are drawn more towards the method and less towards the spiritual endeavor. This is why you don't receive or experience the Father's blessing for any task or service you do. This is why you don't receive or experience the Father's blessing for any task or service you do. When you do have success through the means, there is good zeal and enthusiasm. But because you don't experience blessing and there is less success through the method, your zeal and enthusiasm also decrease. There are the method and the spiritual endeavor. Powerful remembrance. There are the method and the spiritual endeavor. Means powerful remembrance. Having a constant relationship of the heart with the Father is called making spiritual endeavor. Spiritual endeavor is not simply sitting in yoga, but just as you sit with your body, so your heart, mind and intellect should sit in the same way, facing the Father. They should sit with the Father. If the body is sitting there, but the mind is running in one direction, the intellect is running in another direction, and something else is entering the heart, that is not called making spiritual endeavor. All four means the mind, intellect, heart and body should be together in an equally constant stage with the Father. This is making accurate spiritual endeavor. Do you understand? If you are not able to make accurate spiritual endeavor, you start to call out in prayer. You heard earlier too that you sometimes remember Baba and you sometimes complain. It is not necessary to complain in remembrance. It is not necessary to complain in remembrance. For those who make spiritual endeavor, the Father is always their sport. Wherever the Father is, the children there are always in the flying stage. The children there are always in the flying stage. It will not decrease. Instead, it will increase multifold. When there is fluctuation, sometime ups, sometime down, there is tiredness. What happens when you sit somewhere that shakes a lot? When you are shaken a lot in a train, it makes you tired. Does it not? Sometimes you fly with a lot of zeal and enthusiasm, and sometimes you stay in between, and sometimes you come down. This is fluctuation, is it not? This is fluctuation, is it not? This is why you either get tired or you get bored. You then think, do we have to continue in this way? However, those who are constantly with the Father through their spiritual endeavor experience everything to be new at the confluence age. There is newness at every moment, newness in every thought, because there is the flying stage at every step. That is, there is attainment after attainment. There is attainment at every moment. At the confluence age, the Father gives you attainments at every moment in the form of an inheritance and blessings. There is happiness in attainments, and with happiness, your zeal and enthusiasm continue to increase. It is not possible for them to decrease. Even if Maya comes, there is the happiness of becoming victorious. Even if Maya comes, there is the happiness of becoming victorious because you have become knowledgeful about how to gain victory over Maya. Therefore, for those who are 10 years old, it is 10 times as much, and for those who have been here for 20 years, it is 20 times as much. It is even greater, but you simply say that for the sake of saying it. In fact, it is multifold. It is multifold. Okay, what will you now do this year? Baba is asking, what will you now do this year? Zeal and enthusiasm are your property, which you have received from the Father. You have made the Father's property belong to you. So, do you increase your property or do you reduce it? This year, specially underline paying attention to 4 types of service. Number 1 is the service of the self. Second, service of the word. Third, service through the mind. One thing is service through words, but service through the mind is also special. And fourthly, service of the yajna. Wherever you may be, at whatever service place you may be, all the service places are the places where the sacrificial fire is created. It is not that Madhuban is the only yajna and that your places are not the yajna. Therefore, to do service of the yajna means definitely to do one service or another with your deeds. Bap Dada keeps an account of 3 types of service for all the children. Service through the mind, words and actions. Body, mind and wealth. Some Brahman think that they are not able to become cooperative with wealth, that they are not able to do so much service because they are surrendered, that they don't earn anything. And so, how can they do service through wealth? However, if a surrendered soul is economical in a task of yajna, by paying attention and with his own efforts, the money saved by his economy is accumulated in his account. Understand? If a surrendered soul is economical in a task of yajna, by paying attention and with his own efforts, the money saved by his economy is accumulated in his account. This is a subtle account. If someone makes a loss, there is a burden accumulated in his account. Whereas if someone is economical, wealth is accumulated in his account. Every grain of the yajna is equal to a sovereign. If someone is economical for the yajna, not just for show, but from the heart, he continues to accumulate sovereign. Secondly, if a surrendered soul inspire others to use their money in a worthwhile way for service, he accumulates a share through that too. This is why everyone has 3 types of accounts. The percentage of all 3 accounts should be good. Some think that because they are very busy doing service with words, or that their duty is only to do service with words, they can have a smaller percentage in doing service with the mind and action. This excuse will not do. What would the result be if at the time of doing service with the words, you did service with words and also served with your mind as well? Can you not do service with your mind and words together? Serving with words is easy, but you have to pay a little more attention to serving with your mind. This is why you have been able to accumulate in your accounts of words, but your account of the mind has remained empty. All of you are even cleverer than the Father when it comes to words. Baba is saying all of you are even cleverer than the Father when it comes to words. The little ones of today give even better lectures than the dadis. It is the new blood. It is good. You can move forward. Bab Dada is happy. However, what would happen if your account of the mind remains empty? Because there are 100 marks for each account. Don't consider serving with actions to be simply physical service. Serving through your actions means to be part of a gathering, to have a relationships and connection with others. All of this is accumulated in the account of action. So, there is a lot of difference between all the 3 accounts of many. Yet they continue to be happy that they are doing a lot of service, that they are very good. You may stay happy, but your account should not also stay empty. Bap Dada has love for you children, but you cannot complain that you were not given a signal that this also happens. At that time, Bap Dada will remind you of this point. This image will appear on the television. Therefore, this year you may do a lot of service, but keep these 3 accounts, and along with that also do the 4 types of service. If the side of service with words becomes heavy and the side of service with mind and deeds become light, what would happen? There would not be a balance, would there? Because there is not a balance. Zeal and enthusiasm also fluctuate. So firstly, you have to keep paying attention to this. However, Bap Dada repeatedly tells you not to change attention into tension. You often say that you have to pay attention, but you then change attention into tension. So don't do this. Therefore, should be easy and natural attention. There is natural attention in the stage of being double light. There is a natural attention in the stage of being double light. Acha. To those who constantly have the spiritual sparkle of purity on their faces and their activity, to the elevated souls who are brahmacharis at every step, to those who keep all their accounts of service full, to those who have the determined thoughts in their hearts to make progress, to those who make themselves instruments to become number one in self-progress, to such souls who are loved by the Father and specially loved by Mother Brahma, because you celebrated Mother's Day today, and so to the princely children of Mother Brahma, specially from Mother Brahma and from Baba's heart, love, remembrance and namaste. And we spiritual children pay love. We spiritual children say namaste, good morning to our sweetest spiritual father and specially Mother Brahma. Now, Bap Dada meeting Madhuban residents. Bap Dada meeting with Madhuban residents. Madhuban residents have received good golden chances, and this is why Bap Dada calls those who repeatedly receive golden chances, according to the drama, the biggest chancellor. The biggest chancellor, you receive both the fruit and the power, means phal and bal of service. You receive power, and it is that power that does service. And the fruit you receive makes you constantly strong and enables you to move forward. Who listens to the most murlis? Baba is asking, who listen to the most murlis? Those from Madhuban? Others listen to murli that can be counted, whereas you constantly continue to listen to the murlis. You are number one in listening to the murlis. However, in doing that, are you number one in practicing it, or do you become second in that? Baba is saying you have a special right over those who are close. And so Bap Dada also has a special right. You have to practice it, and you have to do that as a number one. You must not have a number at the end in anything. No. All your accounts of accumulation have to be number one and full. Not a single account should be even a little empty. Just as you have all attainments in Madhuban, whether it is spiritual or physical, you receive everything number one. In the same way, the number one in practicing it, the sign of a number one is to win in every situation. If you win, then you are definitely one. If you only sometime wins, then you cannot be number one. Acha, you have received lots of congratulations and lots of certificates for service. So what more certificates do you have to claim? So what more certificates do you have to claim? First, to like your own efforts. Second, to be loved by God. Third, to be loved by the family. So each one of you has to claim these 3 certificates. It should not be that you have the first certificate of liking your own self, but you don't have the others. All 3 are needed. Who is loved by the Father? All 3 are needed. Who is loved by the Father? Those who do what the Father say, this is claiming the certificate of being loved by God. To like yourself means that whatever is in your heart is what is in the Father's heart. Not to have a liking for anything limited, but the Father hearts means your heart. Whatever the Father likes, you like that too. This is called the certificate of the liking yourself, and other certificate is of contentment of the family. So have you claimed all these 3 certificates? Whatever certificates you receive also have to be verified. These have to be verified by the seniors. The Father is greatly merciful, and so he would say, yes, acha. The Father is greatly merciful, and so he would say, yes, acha. Is everyone's department free from obstacles? Are you also free from obstacles? The fragrance of service is spread across the world and also in the subtle region. So now you just have to have these 3 certificates verified. Acha. Baap Dada meeting Bharatvasis. Do you experience yourself to have become the happy children of the Father, the bestower of happiness? If the Father is the bestower of happiness, the children would be embodiment of happiness. Would they not? Do you ever have waves of sorrow? Sorrow cannot come to the children of the bestower of happiness, because the treasures of the Father, the bestower of happiness, have become your treasures. Happiness is your property now. Happiness is your property now. Happiness, peace, power and joy are all your treasures. The Father's treasures have now become your treasures. You are the children who are the masters, are you not? Acha, Bharat is no less. You come here in all the groups. The Father is also pleased. If someone has been lost for 5,000 years and it is found again, there would be so much happiness. There is so much happiness if someone who has been lost for 10 to 12 years is found again. Here, the Father and children have been separated from 5,000 years and have now met once again. And so there is a lot of happiness. Who has the most happiness? Baba is asking, who has the most happiness? All of you have, because the treasure of happiness is so hug that no matter how many take from it, how much they take from it, it never finishes. This is why each one of you is a soul who has a right. It is like that. Is it not? What age of the confluence age called? What age is the confluence age called? The confluence age is the age of happiness. There are treasures and only treasures. You can fill yourself with as many treasures as you want. You have received the blessing of may you be wealthy, may you have all treasures. You have the blessing of all treasures. You have the blessing of all treasures. In Brahman life, there is happiness and only happiness. This happiness does not even disappear, does it? Maya does not steal your treasures, does she? The treasures of those who are careful and clever can never be looted. Those who are a little careless can have their treasures looted. So you are careful? Are you not? Or do you sometimes fall asleep? When someone falls asleep, their things can then be stolen because they became careless. If you are constantly clever and a constantly ignited light that is awake, Maya would not then have the courage to loot your treasures. Acha, wherever you have come from, all of you are multi-millions times fortunate. All of you are multi-million times fortunate. So continue to sing this song, I have found everything. You have this guarantee for 21 births that you will always have these treasures. No one else can give you such a guarantee. So you have claimed this guarantee card, have you not? It is not an ordinary soul who has given you the guarantee card. He is the bestower, and this is why you have to no fear or doubt. He is the bestower, and this is why you have no fear or doubt. Acha, today's blessing, feel Baba's hand on your head and take blessing. May you follow the Father and become worthy by giving the proof in every action and become an embodiment of success. May you follow the Father and become worthy by giving the proof in every action and become an embodiment of success. The children who follow the Father become equal because the Father's steps are their steps. Bab Dada calls the children who give the proof in every action worthy. Worthy means those who constantly experience the Father's hand of Shrimat and his company. Where there is the Father's Shrimat and the hand of blessing, there would always be success. This is why whatever task you carry out, keep it in your awareness that you have the Father's hand of blessing over you. Slogan: actions performed by someone stabilized in the highest stage of being as valuable as a diamond are precious actions. Actions performed by someone stabilized in the highest stage of being as valuable as a diamond are precious action. Om Shanti. Today is the third Sunday of the month and all Raj Yogi brothers and sisters have special yoga from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. At this time, be stable in your special deity form, the merciful bestower from, and to do the service of fulfilling the desires of the devotees. Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba.